Lady Vols over the weekend, they defeat Liberty 109-93 on Saturday at the Food City Center, brought to you by Kroger's. Your take on the Lady Vols and what they were able to do against Liberty, 109-93. Man, that's a lot of freaking points.
It was. Talasia Cooper was the star. She dropped 33 points in the game. It's pretty much everything we're talking about with the Lady Vols. They got some glaring holes, guys, on this team, but they are going to be a fun team to watch. Think about the first team Josh Heupel coached at Tennessee in 2021 that went 7-6. Now you expect them to be better than that because the gap is just not the same. It's just a lot deeper in women's college basketball, but they're going to put on a show. The real story of the weekend is, on top of beating Liberty, they added another commitment, a 4-star guard, Jaida Civil, out of Vero Beach, Florida. They now have 4 players committed for 2025. The Paulden twins, the 5-star wing that they picked up last week, and now Jaida Civil. We have to be honest, Dave, that this is where – so Denia Apparel is the 5-star that committed last week too, for those who are curious. But Kim Caldwell is actually – this is the real story. She's going the traditional route. She is recruiting extremely well. And her system is so entertaining that you're going to see a lot of fun this year. And then you're going to see a lot more competent play next year in the next couple of years. I think that, look, just enjoy watching them this year because they're going to be chaotic, but they have a lot of talent coming in.
But is there a player back in the day, whether or not it was Maya Moore, Candace Parker, Shamiqua Holdsclaw, there was a player every year that was far and above better than everybody else in the women's recruiting game. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Is there that player anymore, or has the game leveled itself out? And the Stewart girl would be another one. Stewart lady would be another
Brianna
one.
Stewart, who may be the greatest player of all time now, but yeah.
And now the young lady who is doing so well in the WNBA, her name escapes me all of a sudden.
Caitlin Clark?
Yes, Caitlin Clark. Sorry. Now, we didn't know that about Caitlin Clark, but is there a player anymore that you think is just a transformational figure in a program, or is it more about quantity over quality?
Oh, it's more about quantity over quality, Dave.
I don't even think it's close.
You just named Brianna Stewart. Did you know she's the last player of the year to win a national championship the same year?
No, that's been what, a decade ago?
2016. Yeah, that's the last time UConn won it. Kelsey Plum was player of the year in 2017. South Carolina won it. Aja Wilson was player of the year in 2018. I believe Notre Dame won it that year. Megan Gustafson was player of the year in 2019. Iowa didn't win it. Sabrina Ionescu was player of the year in 2020, but there was no tournament because of COVID. Paige Bueckers 2021. Aaliyah Boston 2022. South Carolina didn't win it that year. Caitlin Clark, each of the last two. I'm sorry. South Carolina did win it in 2022. Aaliyah Boston was player of the year in 2022, and South Carolina won it. But she's the only player since Brianna Stewart in 2016 to do it. Caitlin Clark was player of the year the last 2 years. They didn't win it either year.
Yeah, I think you've got to be an overall better coach. I think you've got to have a system.
And I think, and one of the things we're forgetting too is, like we talked about, you're right. That wasn't always the case, what we're talking about anyway. The first time this really happened was when Rebecca Lobo went to UConn. And that really kind of changed the course of women's college basketball. Wouldn't you agree, Dave? When Gina Auriemma got Rebecca Lobo and she went and won a national title, and that really sent a message that UConn was going to be a competitor to Pat Summitt. But when we talk about Shamiqua Holdsclaw, but let's be honest. I mean, that was the first 2 titles, but she had Tamika Catchings and Samika Randall on that other 97-98 team. And all of those could have been players of the year that year. I think the more era for Tennessee was the only time they were really like that, where they were just player led, was Candace Parker era. What was it Doug Collins said about Michael Jordan that one time? Give the ball to Michael and everybody else get the F out of the way. That was Pat Summitt's strategy with Candace Parker.
No, but remember this about Candace too. I mean, she wasn't a fantastic leader in year number 1. They sat her when she was in Chicago because she was late on curfew, which was her hometown. So, I mean, it took Candace a while.
It did. Candace was also battling injury that year. So it was I think it was the easy way to send a message while also get her fully healthy and have her take a red shirt that year, which she did. So, I mean, I get what you're saying. And they did lose to North Carolina in the Elite Eight in her first year actually playing with the Lady Vols. But then, I mean, it was it was all her from there on out. I think particularly with Kim Caldwell's system, Dave, you're definitely not going to need a go-to player because she runs so much chaos. She runs so much tempo. It is the new version. You're watching the new version of 40 Minutes of Hell, guys. If you ever turn them on and watch them play, it is Nolan Richardson reincarnated for the 21st century. I don't know why Arkansas ever went away from 40 Minutes of Hell. If you ask me, that was a heck of a brand of basketball to watch.
Well, I think you got to have the roster. I mean, you got to be able to go 8 deep at minimum, more like 10 deep.
No, you're right. That is true. Which is why Bruce Pearl, he kind of brought it back at Tennessee with a different twist. He would go 10 and 11 deep, and he would use walk-ons if he had to because he knew his depth was more important than anything.
When it's all said and done, Talisha Cooper had 33 points, 12 of 20 shooting, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. If I gave you 3 options, she will be mentioned as an all-time Lady Vol great. She won't be. You feel certain in that, or the jury's still out? Would you think that Talisha Cooper could reach those sort of heights?
No, she can't reach those sort of heights. I don't think anybody on this team can, quite honestly. Talisha Cooper was taking advantage of she did hit 2 3s to her credit, so she was able to stretch the court, and she's playing the 4, and she's averaging 19 points a game and 7 rebounds. But again, this is kind of like the Austin P game on the other side for the men. Liberty's a small basketball team. And I mean, this is going to be a thing.
Do you consider Carol Lawson an all-time great?
She flirts with the starting 5 for Tennessee, but no, I don't.
Okay. Is Talisha Cooper at that level? I know they don't play the same position.
Yeah, I could see her at Carol Lawson's level. I could absolutely see her at Carol Lawson's level. And by the way, Carol Lawson is fringe all-time great. Like if you're doing an all-time great Lady Vols, you're going Candace Parker, Shamika Holtzclaw, Bridget Gordon. I mean, that's just the golden 3 right there. And then like that is tier 1. Everybody else is a tier below those 3 players in Lady Vols basketball history.
All right, good stuff. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And I want to remind you of this because I got something cool. You ready for something cool, Caleb? You want to see something cool?
I want to see something cool.
All right, check it out. Thanks to our friends Rick Terry Jewelry Design. They want to be your jeweler. Go to rickterry.com. Here is the Garmin. Look at this thing. It's orange and white as well, worth over $1,000 that we're going to be giving away. And all you have to do is be subscribed to this channel and be a member of Hooker's Corner. There's the QR code right there, just $9.98. And when you see that, you'll see a lot of increased recruiting coverage, more interaction with me and Caleb Calhoun. You'll also be registered for another fantastic prize, which is also over my shoulder. And that is this right here. This is the John Henderson autographed mini helmet. And it's brought to you by our friends at Sports Treasures. Sports Treasures, over 5 million Sports Treasures in North Knoxville. They've been there for 35 years. So there's the QR code. If we can drop the link as well, Caleb, in there, we would encourage you to be a part of Hooker's Corner, more interaction with me and Caleb Calhoun as well. As I remind you, portions of the program brought to you by Asia Cafe, asiacafe.org. Asia Cafe, where I ate yesterday, as a matter of fact, and it was delicious. It is Asian cuisine, handcrafted from guarded family recipes, 5 locations to choose from. And they've got that incredible Brazilian energy booster cocoa white coffee that my wife has every morning. It's unbelievable. The Asia Cafe, and you can order that on asiacafe.org.